Welcome to Channel BSR. I'm Zach Will from BaltimoreSportsReport.com, joined by Jabby Burns. What's up, Jab?
Hello, Zach. What a beautiful, beautiful Friday, right? Or
Isn't
Thursday,
it?
or whenever we're doing this show.
Are you ready to say goodbye to Derek Jeter, Jab?
I am.
Ready to
I'm
say
going to be in
goodbye?
tears. It's tears of rain that's going to be coming down because that game might not be done till 2 in the morning.
God's crying. That's what it is. It's
Wow.
very upset that Derek Jeter's career is finally coming to an end. I know.
Boo-hoo.
But,
Oh, he's not going to the playoffs, though, I don't think, right?
Unfortunately, well, whatever.
That's another show.
That is another wrong show. Let's talk some NFL though. You're crushing it through 3 weeks, Jab. You got a very nice comment from one of your loyal followers. How have things gone for you through the first 3 weeks of the NFL season?
First 3 weeks, Zach, have been great, and thank you again to the one of the four people that subscribe to this. I appreciate the comments whenever we get them, because you always get bombarded with people when you lose, as you do on Twitter, as I got hammered on Twitter because I did take the Browns last week against the Ravens. They came up a little short in that game. Good for the Ravens, good for the home team, good for business. But for Survivor-wise, 8-1, 3-0 last week. That's 6-0 over the last 2 weeks. Again, it's not hard. It's Survivor. You should be able to do it, as everybody says. But based on the pools that I'm in, a lot of people are getting out. So it seems like it's not that easy. This week, we're going to go with 3 selections that we feel pretty confident with. And on the ATS side, we, again, had another positive week. 2-1 makes us 5-3-1 for the year. 63% clip there so far. Good news all around, Zach.
That'll make you a winner.
Hopefully.
Let's start with the Survivor picks. Who's your top Survivor selection this week?
My top Survivor selection, everybody's going to say, oh, here he goes again with Indianapolis. But I'm taking Indianapolis. And listen out there, friends. I haven't used them as a selection this year. Yes, I might be in love with Andrew Luck. That's fine. We'll have a baby together, whatever it is. I think the kid can play. He's coming off a shellacking as one of our 5-star picks last week of hammering the Jaguars last week down in Jacksonville. They come back home, play a Tennessee team that can't get out of their own way. You don't know what quarterback's going to be in there. You might see the rookie, Zach Mettenberg for Tennessee later down the line. Locker get hurt all the time. I don't see the Colts losing this game, so they're going to be my first selection on the Survivor side.
All right, your second selection. I got to point out, I don't know nothing about nothing when it comes to wagering on NFL games, but I told you your bolts were going to cover last week.
You did.
I told you it was going to happen, and I see you're feeling pretty confident about them this week too.
Confidence, a very strong word when you say confident. I'm never confident with the Chargers at any point. But if you have to use a team once, a one and done, this is a perfect time to use them, in my opinion. The Chargers' schedule after this gets a little bit rougher going down the stretch there. You got Denver still on the schedule, a couple other teams. So you're going to take San Diego here because they're playing Jacksonville. And Jacksonville, as we've pointed out here and last year, it's a bad team. Blake Bortles is going to get the start. The rookie's coming in to get the start. They looked a little bit better in the second half against Indianapolis last week. The Chargers should win this game. Don't lay the 13.5, folks, but go ahead, because here's a quick stat for you. Phillip Rivers is 1-11-1 against the spread when the Chargers are favored by 13 or more. So the Chargers usually don't blow teams out when they're big, when they have big spreads. They make it really squeaky, but if you got to take it one time, the Chargers, this is your spot.
13 or more, is that how many kids Phillip Rivers has too?
He has 7, Zach.
And
all from the same wife too, by the way. Just throwing that out there, which is odd.
Bravo.
And he drives a minivan, but that's a different story for another show.
Oh, Jab, while you were talking, you just had 6 more kids. So
good.
Your last Survivor pick for Week 4.
Well, it's not going to go over well here in the Charm City, but Pittsburgh Steelers are coming home after a nice big beating that they put on Carolina last Sunday night. They got, last time you probably saw Pittsburgh, Baltimore fans, was when Baltimore was beating them up on a Thursday night themselves. Pittsburgh's a little bit different team. They were banged up in that game from linebacker position and some other spots, but they were able to go home to play Tampa Bay, which is just north of Jacksonville at being terrible. And Tampa Bay, last time you saw them, they lost 56-14. 56-14. That's not a college score. That is a pro score. Atlanta drubbed them. They're going to Pittsburgh now. I don't care about 10 days off. You didn't get a good quarterback in 10 days, did you? No. So I like the Steelers here, especially at the big catch-up. They'll be able to take care of business with the Pirates also in the playoffs, so it could be a little bit of steam going on in the weekend there in Pittsburgh.
So much black and yellow in
Yes, sir.
Pittsburgh, yeah. Yeah, it could get a little crazy. All right, Jab. Try to win me a little bit of cash. How do you feel looking at the spreads for Week 4?
All right, so four-wise, we're looking at this right off the bat. What we like to call low-hanging fruit in the industry. Why is Atlanta only 2.5-point favorites over a Minnesota team that, number one, lost their best player in Adrian Peterson for an extended period of time? Thank you, NFL. Number two, Matt Castle, their starting quarterback at the beginning of the year, is now on IR. You know what that means? Teddy Bridgewater is going to get the start, the rookie out of Louisville. Think about it, Zach. 5 quarterbacks from this draft are going to have their first starts, and Johnny Manziel is not one of them at this point. There's a good nugget for you there. But you got Atlanta. I understand they're not the same than when they play in the Georgia Dome, but they did have 10 days off, as you pointed out earlier. They're going to play Minnesota, which, in my opinion, is in full-blown reload mode. It's under a field goal here. I like Atlanta a lot. Here's a nugget on Atlanta. Atlanta's 4-0 ATS versus the NFC in their last 4, and the favorite in this series alone is 3-1 against the spread in the last 4. I like Atlanta here, even though it's a road favorite, which I don't normally do. I like where the number is. This should be more like a 5.5 to 7-point favorite.
That's a good one. I feel good about that. All right, we have football, if you could call it that, is going to London this week.
Football.
Jab. Yeah, football. Well, I don't even know if you could do the double O version of football with the teams that they're sending over there, but you can win us a little bit of money on this game. So how do you feel?
Well, it's probably the worst game on the board. So if you're a fan of football, you're not going to be watching this thing, and they're really going to be rooting for it in there. They're going to see these teams come in and say, where's Jerry, where are these Raiders of old? Where's Dan Marino? No, you're getting a totally different version of the Dolphins and the Raiders here. But what you do find here, Zach, is value. And the value is in taking the Raiders. Now, I understand the Raiders are 0-3, okay? That's fine. But what they've done is they've gone to New York already once and only lost by 5. Came home to Houston, lost that game, got boat raced. Last week they go to New England, 14-point dogs they were last week. They almost won the game. This team plays hard. I don't know why. They don't have great players. And this a dumpster fire, in my opinion, going on down in Miami. They don't know who they want to play at quarterback. I think Philbin's job's on the line. I like the Oakland Raiders catching the 4.5 here. And the underdog in this series between the last time these teams have played, and that's not a lot of sample size, but there's 6 games. 5-1, the underdog is ATS in this series.
Wow, that's nuts. All right, looking forward to that one.
Yep, and the other thing is the Dolphins are also 0-5 after giving up 30 points or more in their previous game, which they did this past week.
That they did indeed. As far as over-unders go, what's your over-under for this week?
Here we go again with some of the haters. They're going to come back again. Oh, Green Bay over again. Are you going to have, at some point they're going to hit the over here, Zach, is what I'm telling you. Aaron Rodgers is too good to be held down. I've seen the Chicago secondary. It's not very good. But also Chicago's going to be able to put up points. I looked at the forecast. It's going to be a beautiful day in Chicago. Total's under 50. Normally when these two get together, this thing usually gets into the 30s, both teams. Nowadays, this isn't like the 1950s Packers and Bears. This is right now. 2 great offenses, great receivers on both sides, and Rodgers usually doesn't have back-to-back bad games. He had a bad game last week in Detroit. I understand it's a road game, but go ahead and go over the over there. The over is 6-0 in the last 6 Packer games in Week 4, and the over is 4-0 in the last 4 Bear games in the NFC. Trends say take the over there, Zach.
All right, big win. I still consider it a big win. I know it's the Browns, but going on the road, winning in the AFC North, never an easy thing to do. That's exactly what the Ravens did last week in Cleveland, and they're facing the Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton, and Steve Smith Sr.'s former club. So it's going to be an emotional one for him. What's your angle on this game?
As I said in the piece, it's going to be coming out here. I love this spot for the Ravens, and here's why. Usually this could be a trap game for the Ravens. Coming off an emotional win, like you said, in Cleveland, which I think that considered emotional win, especially with what they went through the week before with the off-the-field stuff. So then you go there, you galvanize yourself with a big win. Last-second field goal, great throw by Joe Flacco and the aforementioned Steve Smith with the big catch that they needed there.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're coming home to play a Carolina team. Could be a down spot. It's not going to be because Steve Smith Sr. won't let them be down. This is his Super Bowl. If you saw the video a couple weeks ago about what he said, I can't wait, I'm not done, Carolina, you thought I was done. He is looking forward to this game, so he'll have that locker room ready to go, so any letdown theory won't be happening. Additionally, Cam Newton's not himself, playing at about 65-70%, can't move. So if you can't move, takes away half of Cam Newton's great game. The receivers outside Benjamin aren't that great, so the corners with the Ravens shouldn't have a problem. And I expect this, both Suggs and Doomerville to get sacks. Their offensive linemen, both offensive tackles, are undrafted free agents. They've never played together. This offensive line is a work in progress for Carolina. I like the Ravens a lot in this game. I don't anticipate it being close. I like the Ravens around 24-10, somewhere along those lines, Zach.
Listen to the man. He's crushing it this year.
And that number's low. And that number's only -3, so that would be a selection. If I'm able to take the Ravens, I would use the Ravens as a bonus selection this week as well.
Ooh, that's confidence. That's confidence right there. You can read Jab's Winning Nuggets, his NFL Week 4 picks on BaltimoreSportsReport.com and follow him on Twitter at JabbyBurnsJab.
Sure.
Pleasure as always.